We all make mistakes, and recently I myself sinned, which truly tested me. I want to take the opportunity, make myself vulnerable today, and tell you about it in hopes of providing some value and keep us accountable, inshallah. And this isn't just, for example, about quitting an addiction. This is about letting go of someone purely for the sake of Allah. My YouTube name is Outmaxed, and I'll help you become your best version in a halal way, inshallah. If you don't want to miss any of my future videos, subscribe. Like to push the algorithm so more people benefit from my videos, leave a comment, and share with someone who'd benefit from the video. In an internship I got in, I met a girl. Let's put it like this. I met a girl. And I'm going to try to keep her identity as private as possible. I just don't use her real name and instead use an alias, which will be Lena in this video for no reason at all. She might actually see this video. You're gonna find out why later. Anyways, in this internship, of course, I met this girl in the internship because I went there and she went to the internship at the same time as me. And naturally, we talked and had a lot of fun. We talked, we helped each other out with the task we had. We understood each other very well. And from the beginning on, already knew that I was in a dangerous area to be. Because it's a girl, we have fun. Maybe a little bit too much fun. I could get too comfortable talking to that girl. And I was conscious of it. In this context, in this situation, everything we did was in a halal matter. We just talked like I have to talk to a person in a group project in, I don't know, college, university, or a high school or whatever. And this in Islam generally is accepted and completely fine, as long as you're trying to keep some boundaries, which you could argue I already crossed in this situation, but there's space to argue about that. The part of the story I'm gonna talk about in this video, which I call the transition happened, where the internship ended and she asked me for my number because she feared to not see me again or to not have any contact again after the internship ended. And she wanted my number so we could keep in contact and message each other. And here is where the mistake for my side really begins. I gave it to her. That's the fundamental mistake, which in itself, you could argue, is also not sinful in itself. So it's not sinful, but you can't argue that I didn't cross a line with that. Because before you could argue, yeah, it's made in the internship, naturally we talk, I can just silence if we are in the same room, it's a bit awkward, naturally you talk. In the moment where the context ends, where we have an excuse to talk with each other, and I decide to keep contact with this girl, with a person of the other gender, it is considered not okay anymore. Maybe not haram, because haram is a very strong word, but it is something you should not do. During the internship, I asked myself, what am I going to do if she asks me? Because it was already in the air, it was already in the conversation, if you know what I mean. And I didn't really come to a decision or an answer or visualize it enough or think about it enough that I could make the right decision in the moment of the decision. So I gave her my number. And simply, I gave her my number. Nothing happened really. The time passes. At the start we wrote a little bit because so the chat in WhatsApp or whatever starts. But nothing after that really happens until one day. But firstly, I want to sneak in a little CTA. By the way, if you want completely free one-on-one coaching from me, check out the top link in the description. Now back to the video. So like I said, one day she started messaging me, and from that day on we messaged every day for a long time. And the content of the messages we wrote to each other also weren't halal. But so in the moment when I gave her, or a few days after I gave her my number, I made up excuses of, yeah, okay, good, I gave her my number, I shouldn't have done that, but trying to keep it halal from the chat on. And I can't put it in other words than I failed. And I didn't message her like I should have done. And frankly, if I'm being honest, in the period of us messaging a lot, we also had a lot of fun. We talked about a lot of different things, most of which were not in the interest of Allah. And before I knew it, I realized that I liked this girl more than I should have. Yeah, like in a relationship, when it starts, we messaged each other in a kind of way to show the other person that you like the other person, and there was a constant guessing of who likes who, like in a Western relationship nowadays, like it is normal there. And the whole time I knew what I was doing, but I liked this girl. So I was already anxious the whole time because I knew what's about to happen. So much so that one time I called the paramedics because I felt rather weird sensation in my left chest following my left arm. And I didn't really know what it was, but I thought to myself, okay, if I have a panic attack, I want the paramedics to be there. Alhamdulillah, it wasn't a panic attack or something like that, but it just shows that how much anxiety it caused in me, that I had to call the paramedics because I feared for my own health. Because I know that I've known that I had to end the contact with her. Yeah, and after that, after the paramedics, and so much so a few days after, weeks, I don't know, it was already extremely obvious to me and her that we both like each other. So much so that we didn't really speak it out. I even made dua because I had problems with bringing myself to end the contact with her. And I made dua saying, Ya Allah, I am too weak to end the contact with her. Please take her away from me, because I know that what I'm doing isn't righteous. And one day I told her I want to meet up with her, and I ended it. I told her that I'm not ready for a relationship that would be halal and that would be allowed in my religion, that would be halal, because the biggest reason is, there are a few reasons, but the biggest reason is I wouldn't have enough money to make the wedding, pay the mahar, and to feed me and her. And the second biggest reason is that she wasn't Muslim, and even if she converted at the same day, she probably also wouldn't be ready for marriage, because she doesn't know the fiqh of nikah, so marriage and talaq, divorce, and she also wouldn't know the simple things of aqidah and fiqh, and staples like the 5 daily prayers she also wouldn't have done, which is not a good position to get married in. But alhamdulillah, I know I've done the right decision. Like said, we've messaged each other every day at approximately the same time. We called, we played chess online, and for the whole time I knew that I had to end it, but I didn't want to think about that. And at the thought of me having to end it, I usually push it away, or because I couldn't bring myself, and I frankly just wanted to enjoy it. But one day, alhamdulillah, my dua was answered. He didn't, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't took Dina away from me, but instead, subhanallah, gave me the strength I needed to end it. Which just again shows the beauty and the all might that Allah has, where He accepts your dua in the most, even in the way where you couldn't have imagined it's becoming true. And I made a lot of dua. I even made this dua in sujood while I prayed with her there in the same room when we met up. Just to be sure, there was no zina, so no intercourse, no touching, no kisses, no nothing. But feelings were there. Yeah, I've come to terms with it. I'm only crying now because I'm telling the whole story again to a big audience, and it's a lot of pressure. But to be honest, I really come to terms with it. I've cried a few times after I ended the contact, especially like, for example, the day after, to at the same time we've usually would message each other. I cried because, I mean, it was a long time we'd messaged each other and at the same time, the whole time. And now going back to my original routine at that time was depressing. I don't know if this video brings a lot of value, but I hope so. To end this video off, the teachings and lessons I took from it, and you hopefully should take from it. I myself feel like I've finally come to terms, internally, come to terms with waiting for marriage. Because I've known the whole time that I'm not ready for marriage. That's why I set my money goal, which is 10k a month, but you don't need to make 10k a month to marry. I just aimed for a higher income. So I've known the whole time that I'm not financially stable enough to afford a marriage. But I've known it logically, but internally, emotionally, there was still this, oh, she's Muslim, oh, she has a good character, maybe I could marry her in the future. And I don't say I give up on dating, not at all, but I've come to terms that the other gender, so women, girls, this whole category of life, I visualized it like this. This whole category is fully locked for me right now, and I don't have to waste any of my mind capacity thinking about it at all, because it is locked. There's no chance for me to marry anyone in this position right now, which I've known, like said, but emotionally it's now more settled, I think. It's also strengthened my iman, I think, because I've shown myself and also others that I am really willing to sacrifice a lot for Allah. And in such an emotional and vulnerable position you're in after you break and contact with such an important person in your life, you naturally tend to move towards God, towards Allah. And alhamdulillah, I now pray more. My iman is strengthened. I have now more taqwa, I think, and more tawakkul, all these things. Alhamdulillah. And it's a lot easier to end something or sacrifice something in your daily life, because I sacrificed a much bigger thing. I finally I'm finally completely locking in for my grand goal, which is money, which is 10k a month. Because like said, I've not as much distractions anymore, emotionally, internally, because of girls and women. And of course, it's very motivating after heartbreak it's motivating. Also, the biggest reason for my side was that I don't have enough income, and then it is of course very motivating to make more income, which was already my grand goal and my biggest goal in life in this time. Alhamdulillah. What you can take away from this video, and I don't know what value you really get from this video, like I said, but I hope to think that if you have something similar in your life, also a person, a hobby, a vice, a trait, I don't know, anything that sits within yourself, emotionally, physically, whatever, that you don't want to give up, I hope you can take me as an example, and even if it hurts, just do it anyways. That's what essentially was what discipline means, to do something even if you don't feel like doing it. And I know it hurts, and I didn't see it myself just now, but Allah promised us to replace something you sacrifice for Him with something better. And I did it, alhamdulillah. And I think if you have something in mind right now, you should do that as well. Click and watch this video right now, or check out the links in the description. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.